All right, man. We're live. How you doing?
Hello today.
Hey, good. Hello, hello. We are live here on the StewKast Wrestling Podcast, part of Fans First Sports Network, which is the Combat Zone Network, which is a subsidiary of the Fans First Sports Network. Thank you for joining us. I am your host, Lou Marconi, at omarconi251 on Instagram, at omarconi1973 on X. My co-host and hetero partner is Corey Castle, at Corey Castle. We got some wrestling stuff to talk about, but before we do that, I want to
Talk.
yeah, Wrestle Talk. I want to let you know that please click on the link, the details of the show, and check out the sponsor of the show, which is Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. Click on the link, order up some coffee. And what do we tell them, Corey?
Tell him Lou sent you.
Tell them Lou sent you. Thank you. Thank you. That's what we're going to do. And since we're on here one more time, let's just get this out of the way right now. Let's pause for a break from further sponsors now. All right, we're back. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sticking with us. How about them sponsors?
I'm excited about checking out those sponsors. I mean, those ad breaks really had me going.
Yes, they did.
Sure.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you. So, Corey, we got some wrestling stuff to talk about. Obviously, two big events coming up by the end of January, early February. You got the Royal Rumble on the first, Saturday night's main event on January 25th. The debut of Penta on this past Monday Night Raw, which went really well. You also got the second week of Raw on Netflix, and I guess Raw is the Netflix top-rated show, which doesn't surprise me at all.
Number one.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about SmackDown and the angles that are leading up to that. So you also wanted to dive into, I think, I want to talk a little bit about this Hulk Hogan controversy, which I don't think there really is one. I think it's more internet created. And I think you said something with Corey Graves. You go right into that. I'll let you go into Corey Graves first. So go right in, man.
I mean, did you see what I sent you on Twitter?
Yeah. Imagine, like 10 years ago, he couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, he had to retire from in-ring wrestling, and he got really good at doing. He did a post on Twitter about how imagine like you dreamed about doing this thing for your whole life, and you
just so you know, man.
Frozen, I understand.
Yeah. Okay.
Frozen
Yeah.
again.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Keep going.
Hang on. Let me try to put this. So just hang with me for just a sec. Let me do a reset of my camera. So just
you can continue to talk. Yeah, you can continue to talk while we're doing that. Are you able to still talk while resetting your camera?
I'm gonna try.
We're gonna try. So yeah, I guess he went on Twitter or X. He complained about being replaced on Raw by Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee's a lot more famous than he is. So
right. And then he said something about he was going to go on NXT and talk about get this stuff off of his mind and off his chest, and then he got taken off of NXT.
And people aren't sure if it's a shoot or a work. If I understand.
Yeah, people are saying, "Oh, this could be a storyline." People are talking about how, it could be, it could be a shoot. It's weird. Like his friends backstage are saying it's real and blah blah blah. I mean, I guess they kind of have to say that, but it's interesting either way. However it goes,
right.
But it would be more interesting to see Corey Graves because he did get cleared to get back in the ring and wrestle again, like within the last 5 years.
But he chose not to. He just chose not to.
Right. It kind of that news kind of went under the radar. But like it would be interesting to see him pick up like as a character on the show again.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a guy in the broadcast booth.
Right.
Honestly, I don't know what to make of it. The people, is it a work or is it not? It's partially both? Is there a gray area on this? Maybe, but why would they pull him off a show unless it's either one or the other? I don't think it's an in between. I haven't seen him in a long time, but I wrestled him back in the day when he was Sterling James Keenan, and he was a young kid out of Pittsburgh. He actually remembered coming to see me wrestle. So how old I am when he was a kid. So he's a good guy. And I hope he turns out well for me. He's really good for WWE, does good for the broadcasting. And yeah, so, and Pat McAfee is too. But Pat McAfee always leaves during the football season.
Right, right.
So it might have already been worked out. Maybe they're making it into a storyline. So it's possible. So we'll have to wait and see. But what do you think?
I dude, I think it would be really cool to have him step up and do more. Like if you know SmackDown's got Nick Aldis, Raw's got Adam Pearce, NXT could have Corey Graves, and they could all they could be
Mm,
the former pros as the like general managers, the flagship carrier. You know what I mean? Like the flag holders for their brands. And I'd
mm.
definitely rather see Corey Graves do it than the child that's doing it now, because she's not believable as an authority figure in any way.
Right. Yeah, I know. I know what you mean. I heard the dog agrees with you too.
Yes,
So
Bowie's in full agreement.
we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. So what did you think of Raw this week? Because I liked the Penta debut. Gable put him
It was
over.
great. You know, it was strange to me, and I don't know if you saw it, but like last week, the Raw debut on Netflix, I went live on my platforms, right? And I went
Hmm.
live on my
Hmm.
Facebook, and I went live on Twitch,
We had
and
camera issues last week because of it. Yeah.
and I was going to do it again yesterday, but I was like, because of my like camera overheating issues, I was like, oh, maybe I'll just do during the main event. But then they cut it off at 10:30. How come it went from 3 hours to 2.5 hours, and like it wasn't any news? Like there wasn't. It's weird because it also like went into the news that like people backstage were mad at Penta because he went over on his time, and like that was unscheduled. Like the 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 promo time. I'm like, I don't think that that's the case at all. I think uh, I think the people are just searching for something to talk about because that gets the
Yeah.
click.
Yeah, I think a lot of stuff is clickbaity. Maybe that's what's going on is with the Corey Graves too. It's clickbait. Maybe that's
Right.
what it is.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, well, here I know your favorite's Nia Jax, and they're setting up her and Rhea Ripley. So there you go.
Mhm.
I
Right.
know how much you're gonna like that.
I was, uh, I was like, right as Raw was on, I kind of missed the Sami Zayn, Miz, and the Rhea Ripley, Nia Jax because I wanted to take a shower. So I,
Mhm.
I, I came up and I was in the shower, and I heard Alyssa going when Nia Jax came out. I heard her going, "Oh boo! Oh boo! Get out of here!" So I knew that was going on. But I watched the highlights back of the Sami Zayn Miz, and that was all right. That wasn't bad at all. Um,
No,
but for
no.
sure, the match of the night was Chad Gable Penta for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And then I tell you what, I did like. Well, the whole thing with Damian Priest and Finn Balor and all that stuff. I like
Yeah.
that. It seems like it also there. I'm not sure what the card is on the Saturday Night's main event, but I know they're building up a lot towards Royal Rumble as well because they had Drew McIntyre, they had uh, they had CM Punk out there. They're building up to like
Seth
who's going to
Rollins,
get the
yeah,
shit. Seth Rollins, yeah,
the three-way sort of promo battle, the three of
yeah.
them in the
Go ahead.
opening of Raw.
I'm sorry.
It was the opening of Raw. They
Right,
opened with
right.
CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre all
Hmm.
battling each other in a promo.
Right, right. Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I think that they're pushing the Royal Rumble. It's weird to have like a Saturday night's main event, then a Royal Rumble the week after. Because I
Hmm.
mean, usually you take time like a month between shows to
Right,
build
like
one up. Yeah,
one of them is going to be a blow off. One of them is going to be a go home. One of them is going to like
yeah.
lead up to the next, like, because Royal Rumble is the beginning of
Hmm.
Royal Rumble is the beginning of WrestleMania season. So
Essentially, yes.
yeah, so the the whole point of sort of the Saturday night's main event and Royal Rumble, it seems that they're just too smashed together, and they're under contractual obligations to have both events take place so quickly together.
Yeah. What?
Like
Well, okay. I'm kind of curious because you're talking about leading up to WrestleMania. I think you're going to see a Roman Reigns Cody Rhodes rematch.
for WrestleMania.
Yep. That's what I think they're building up to. That's the way they talked on SmackDown too, and they're doing the Kevin Owens Cody Rhodes ladder match build up, and just the way Paul Heyman was saying what he was saying about Roman Reigns wanting his belt, his belt back. So that's what made me think that. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
but I
kind of
mean, like,
segueing into SmackDown a little bit,
you
but go
think they're
ahead.
gonna do? You think they're gonna do 3 WrestleManias in a row? Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns
Yeah,
for the main event.
yeah. It's it's
So,
it's it's the rubber match.
mm-hmm.
And by the way, Maxim, thank you. Thank you. What's up? What up? Sorry, he commented. I had to put it up there. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. What were you about to say before I interrupted
Um,
you?
I mean, there's so much potential for other things. I mean, I kind of I read a thing and I want to believe it. I think it would be neat if they did like a love the show. But
He's complimenting us, and you go,
yeah,
ah.
no,
Uh,
I was giving a little rip it.
oh, okay.
Uh,
Tells you
the
what
uh,
I know.
the the CM Punk favor. I've heard that CM Punk's favor for Paul Heyman was that he was gonna try to take he was gonna try to take on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Uh,
Hmm.
that's one of the rumors that I've heard. I once again don't have a whole scope on
Well,
the.
I'm not sure. You could be right. You could be. I could be wrong. I could be right. You could be wrong. We'll have to wait and see. But that's kind of where the direction I see it going. Um, what else about Raw that you? Was there anything about Raw that you didn't like besides Nia Jax? It was good and fast forward, right?
I I I was upset that it was that they cut a half hour short off of Raw. Like I didn't think that Finn
Hmm.
Balor. I didn't think Finn Balor and Damian Priest was going to be the main event.
Yeah,
Like I mean, even though they did that big stage, whatever that was, Michinoku driver
yeah.
off the entranceway through the tables and stuff. Like
Hmm.
that was like main event bumps. Next of
Watch
kin.
next
No,
of
I didn't
kin.
watch
Yeah,
next of kin yet.
not
No.
yet, not yet. He'll get to it.
Yeah, suggestion box for Royal Rumble, 40
Mo-
entrants.
Yeah, jeez.
Uh, I, we're already overly booking it. Like there's
Yeah,
already so many
yeah,
so many people, and it has been weird the last couple of years. Like I don't know. I mean I don't want to speak for everybody when I say like it seems like Royal Rumble used to be something more special. Like it used to be like they bring out more returns, like surprise entrants. And it doesn't seem like they have as many surprises anymore as they used to have in Royal Rumble.
yeah. I, well, they would at times, right? Huh? I don't know. I don't know. I'll watch it objectively and I'll give my objective thoughts on it
You
as
know what
always.
would be a cool surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble?
Who? Tommy Rich? Wildfire?
Goldust.
Gold Dust? Oh,
Yeah.
I don't see that happening.
No, I don't think so either, but it would be cool.
Oh, Tommy Rich would be even more crazy.
Yeah, Zoo. I agree with Cliff on that. It does feel like we don't get as many surprises anymore, dude. Honestly, the I think that I did have a goosebumps moment during the Penta entrance at
Yeah,
Raw.
yeah. That was the worst kept secret too. They said
Yeah,
like
yeah, that's what
everybody who
Cole
was
said.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was the
yeah.
worst kept secret.
Yeah, yeah. Well said there.
Right,
I'm trying to think.
perfect.
I'm trying to think what else was anything else going on. Well, the women's stuff. They're doing the thing with Bailey. I'm trying to think anything else, and they had the LA Knight match, which I liked. I always like watching his matches. So
Mhm,
I'm trying to think. Was there anything else that was on your mind about those shows? Because it's kind of I did make sure to watch the highlights again, so I'd have
mhm.
refresh my memory yesterday. Because my old brain, I just like if I wait too long to talk about it after I've seen, it, I was like, oh yeah, that happened. Oh yeah, kind of just
It seems
exits.
the setup for the Miz and Sami Zayn, like it seems
Yeah.
like they've recycled the setup a few times now. Where Sami's like, "I came here to do this, but instead I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna do like," and then he just shifts whatever his focus for being there was. It seems like they're recycling that setup for him a few times now. Like,
Hmm, I don't
well,
know.
they did it a couple weeks ago. They were like, "Oh, he came to SmackDown to make this happen, but now he's going to make this happen instead. Just sidetrack and do a side mission." Like they're Sami Zayn is like the king of side missions for Raw and SmackDown these days.
You could say that. It's interesting. I like that. What's the buildup of was it Gunther and who's he going? Who are they building up? The guy that had that Intercontinental strap for a little bit, and they're doing the
Uh,
Sheamus
Braun Breaker.
Braun
Uh,
Breaker, yeah, and they're also doing what's that kid's name? Uh, you know what I'm talking about with Gunther. They're building that up. God, I'm
Ludwig
horrible.
Kaiser.
What's that?
Ludwig.
No. Not Ludwig Kaiser. The kid that had the Intercontinental belt for a short period of time. They they chant "Yeet that." You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Jey Uso.
Jey Uso. Jey Uso. Thank you. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was worked in there too. Did you see that?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
did see that.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I don't think I, I don't think while they're even though they're calling him main event Jey Uso, I don't see him as being the world champion. I
Probably
mean,
not. No,
I
probably not.
I see him being uh, somebody credible to get Gunther over even more. I'm cool with that, but
Yeah,
I don't know for sure if it's like the right move to and like they didn't even like have him being intercontinental champion last longer than a week. It,
right. It was
so
almost like Tommy Rich's reign with the NWA strap. It was like an
almost
8 day. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm,
All right. Well, there's this controversy. We talked about it last week. I didn't really think too much of it when it happened because we did this show the next day after Raw debuted on USA,
mhm,
and it was because it was all fresh in our mind, and we did it. We just jumped in because it was a big deal. It was a big
right,
debut and everything else.
mhm,
And one of those things was Hulk Hogan came out with Jimmy Hart,
right,
and he did his promo. And he didn't even go to the ring for the promo, which I think it would probably been better if he would have did that, did more of an entrance.
mhm,
But he did get some booze. And I commented on this, and the Combat Zone
mhm,
people agreed with me on
mhm.
it, or they liked it. They liked what I said. I said I don't think it was as bad as people are making it out to be. What do you say, man? I think it was
Uh,
more blown out of proportion.
I mean, it was that live audience. I don't think everybody everywhere wants to boo Hulk Hogan. I mean, maybe they do, but it'd be fun to see. It'd be funny to see him go back to Hollywood Hogan and like kind of kind of like uh, oh, if he's managed by Corey Graves and he comes back in a heel run.
What what are they going to do with Jimmy Hart?
Yeah, he can sit down for a while. He
Mhm.
does too much.
Well, he's like almost, isn't he like 80 years old now?
He's old as hell, man. Did you see how far back his hairline was?
Yeah. Do you think he? Hey, I mean, God bless him. He's in great health. But
Oh yeah,
Jimmy Hart was a great heel manager back in his day.
right.
Um, I I don't know. I looked at that like because you hear stories, and a lot of times people to get clicks and to get traffic, they'll say things and they'll do things and they'll blow it out of proportion. He got booed, but it wasn't like overwhelming. It wasn't that bad, and I wonder why are people booing him? What is it? What would be the reason? Is it because of the stories people tell on podcasts that
I think a good amount of it is like I think like the more you hear him tell stories, the more you can like kind of smell out the lies. Like he's
oh
like
he's a storyteller, that's for sure.
he loves embellishing. He
Yeah.
loves a lie. Like the and
When he was
and
on
and
Rogan, there was stuff that he was talking about. He wasn't at the locker room in Puerto Rico when Bruiser Brody was
right,
murdered. He wasn't
right,
there.
right. He he makes up a lot of alternative facts, and then the the some people were trying to tie it to his like his like endorsement of Trump. I don't think it has anything to do with that at all. Not one little piece, because
Well,
they
him getting
popped
booed
for
because of his
Taker.
politics. Yeah.
Yeah, they popped for Taker, and Taker was also a Trump guy. So I mean, I don't think it had anything to do with that. I think it was just like, this is washed. Like we've seen enough of what you've got to offer. We don't need any more of it. And that was
Yeah.
kind of the fans' reasons for booing, is what I assume. But
I think
I'm
I
not
think
saying every individual
it was a
fan.
smattering of booze. It wasn't overwhelming. I think it had to do with a lot of the stories. It might even came up the one where he put the kibosh on Jesse Ventura trying to unionize the wrestlers because
Right.
Hogan
Yeah.
said something to keep his spot and to keep his money.
Yeah.
Um, but it wouldn't have worked anyway, even if Hogan wouldn't have said anything. The
Hmm.
wrestlers being unionized wouldn't have happened. So it reminded me a lot of like back in October when I was at the Browns Bengals game and Deshaun Watson tore his Achilles heel and he got carted off and there was exaggerations on fans cheering. There was some fans that did it, but all those were mostly Cincinnati Bengals fans. They were saying the Browns fans cheered him and there was a "You deserve it" chant that was edited in that didn't happen. So it's similar to that. It's like people sometimes embellish themselves with something
Hmm.
that happened, much
They
like ironically,
work themselves into a shoot.
if you want to call it that. Yeah, if you want to call it that. But honestly, I never really worked with Terry because when I was at WWF, he was at WCW. Never
Hmm.
had a problem with him ever. I never had a problem with anything he did.
Hmm.
42 members, including Dom and Virgil. What is he talking about? Did I miss, was it an earlier part of the conversation, Maxim? Did I miss his comment?
I don't know members of what.
Members of what? Cauliflower Alley Club? Dominic DiNucci and Virgil. Oh, he's talking about the union. Maybe the union he was talking about.
Okay,
Yeah, that
okay.
was just before the second WrestleMania. He tried to unionize the wrestlers, and uh,
I think they even talked about that in the Mr. McMahon documentary.
yep,
And I think that the weird part about that documentary that it was like less about Mr. McMahon, and for a period of it, just became like a documentary about WWF or WWE
right.
in that time frame, like what
Oh,
molded the
got it.
business.
Make a new NWO.
Oh yeah, yeah, you go, yeah.
Murder. Well, why not? Well, well, I mean, I don't know if Nash would be willing to come in and do anything with it, but I don't know if they'll do a rehash of the NWO or not.
No.
I will say this that Hogan's supposed to be at the Saturday Night's main event on the 25th.
Mhm.
Uh, Next week we'll be back. We're going to do Raw and SmackDown like we just did. Talk about any other news that's coming up. Hopefully the Corey Graves thing will be resolved. And I'd say, do you expect Hogan to get booed at Saturday Night's main event? It probably will happen.
Probably, yeah.
Probably, yeah. And you know what? This is my first reaction when somebody came to me and asked me about it in private. What do you think about Hogan being booed? I said, so. Like, what do you
Mhm.
mean? I said the word whether they cheer or boo doesn't matter. They react.
Right, yeah.
The worst thing that can happen is nothing. Right? I mean, it's like nothing. Like they don't react. They don't do nothing. You can hear a pin drop. You're like, ooh, that's not good. You know?
Look, if you notice, like in the like the wrap up of Raw, when they were like, "Oh, this exciting thing," and Hogan came back, and then they never talked about how he got booed. They never re-showed it at all or anything.
No, they didn't. I don't. Well,
I think that
whatever.
they're just trying to figure out how to navigate it just as much as fans are
Yeah,
going to try to
I
figure out.
don't think they expected him to get that kind of
Right.
reaction, but
Not at all.
getting a reaction is better than no reaction. Whether
Right.
it's not what
I
you
think it's
expect.
also a sponsorship obligation to have him make appearances.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. So
like
it's cool. It's
it's a
cool.
whole bunch of.
Oh,
Have
yeah.
you tried
Well,
that Real American beer?
no, no, I have not.
Yeah. I
But
heard it was
guys,
like a Budweiser type, like
oh,
a
okay.
high calorie beer.
High calorie beer. Well, hopefully it'll get people drinking more. So that's all what we need. Hey guys, thank you for joining us on the StewKast. We'll talk more Raw and SmackDown next week and any other wrestling news. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. This is the StewKast, a wrestling podcast on the Combat Zone Network, a subsidiary of the Fans First Sports Network. Check us out every Sunday on Rumble. We have the Sunday Stew Pot, and every Wednesday at 12:35 we do the StewKast. And also Corey has his show Evolving with Corey Castle. It's on YouTube, iTunes, not iTunes, but Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We got also my stuff, which is on the Fanatical Elves Network, which is a subsidiary of the Fans First Sports Network. It's the Burning River Browns Talk and Stirring the Pot. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you, and we will see you next Wednesday. Wrap it up. Thank you for commenting. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching.